Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start in a few seconds as people are streaming in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Canadian Immigrant Fair, presented by BMO in association with Public Mobile. We're thrilled to have everyone join us and hope you're enjoying the day so far. My name is Ramya Ramanathan. I'm the editor of Canadian Immigrant, and I'm joined by my colleague, Laura Jackman. I would like to welcome you to our closing panel. The road to success is paved with soft skills. We've brought together experts from different fields to share their experiences and views on the importance of soft skills in finding career success. Complementing your technical or hard skills with soft skills will ensure that you're able to maximize your potential. And soft skills are personal attributes you have to build on. These include communication skills, teamwork, listening skills, time management, and others. So welcome to our panelists, Alison Anderson, Azumme Degun, and Catherine Steele. Thank you very much for being with us today. During this discussion, we will ask our panelists the questions and specific questions following their experiences and what they bring to this discussion. And then after that, we will open the floor to questions from the viewers. If you have questions, feel free to type it in the chat or in the Q&A. We will be getting to your questions towards the end of the presentation. You can also email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. And this session is being recorded and will be available on our website after. So just before we get started, we would like to take a moment for a short video from our associate sponsor, Public Mobile, just a few minutes long. Laura, please go ahead.
Matt and Megan felt stuck with their phone company. But since switching to Public Mobile, where there's no commitments, no contracts, and no hidden fees, they're free to feel the love again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laura. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Alison Anderson. Alison is the Dean of Business and Technology at the Chiu School of Business at Bow Valley College and is a member of the Business Planning Review Committee with Community Futures in Prince George. Welcome, Alison.
Hi, hello to everybody. Thanks for participating in today's session.
Great to have you. So I'm going to ask you two questions and then go to the next speaker. So my first question for you is, you have 3 decades of experience working in the education sector in fields including mentoring, leadership, and career access. So what are the common challenges with soft skills that you see immigrants and newcomers face, and how can they best deal with them?
Well, I think what's really important is that, soft skills the issues with soft skills are for really all of our students and not just for immigrants and newcomers. And so when we look at soft skills, it becomes really important that we communicate clearly. And so communication is just a very, very important skill. I've taught students all the way from literacy to 4th year university, and the same things come up. It's how to ensure that people are understanding what you're asking and that you take the time to listen to them. So to me, communication is very, very important. And, as newcomers to a country, it's important, of course, language, so that people understand and can communicate with you. And, at the college, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in, English language training and really seeing people being able to step into that part of being clearly able to communicate. I also think that as you come to a new country, and it's things that we try and help our students with, is we really want to think about what's the business culture? Is it different than where the country that you've come from? And what are those things that you need to learn and take away to ensure that you fit well into the business that you're going to work in? Teamwork is essential. In Canadian businesses, we work with teams all of the time. And so it's really that capacity, how you participate as a team member, how you contribute, and how you're heard, because sometimes we're kind of afraid to bring up our ideas or those types of things. And it's important in the culture in Canada and business that everybody participate. We don't want people to be quiet. And so, it's really to bring your ideas and thoughts forward. So very important. And if you are feeling shy or timid and you don't feel comfortable in your setting, going to your leader and talking and saying, I don't feel comfortable, and ensuring that they will engage you in the conversation. So in my experience in leadership is that it's really important that everybody contributes, because diversity brings so much to teams and so much to communication. The other thing that we think that's really important for students, especially going out into the world, is actually negotiation skills. So when you go for that first job, how do you talk to the employer about your wages or what you might get in terms of benefits? And so it's important that you be able to have some negotiation skills, and they're tough for some people because it's different. You're sort of selling yourself. And then one piece that's very important, especially in the Chiu School of Business, which is one of my schools, is we really want students to be able to network. And so we teach them interview skills. We have career mentorship opportunities so that they can really go to other people in community. I encourage anybody, whether it's a student or one of my coworkers, to have a mentor, because mentors you really can go and you can talk about. So I think it's really important that you have somebody that you can talk about ideas or issues, and they'll help you to grow in your role. So, that mentorship piece is very, very important. But the ability to interview, the ability to write a resume and really say who you are and talk about your skills is very, very important. So again, I'll go back to my first comment about communication. So communication is key in our world. We're on our phones all the time. And so which communication am I using? So if I'm texting, am I doing it professionally? If I'm emailing, am I doing it professionally? If I'm presenting. So it's really to have that skill of communication. And one of the things I think is really important is the ability to listen, because communication is back and forth. And so those are sort of some of the key soft skills I think are really essential for everybody, but especially people coming to a new country, is really a little bit of adaptability. And to be honest, I know that it's probably, a little bit, you feel a little bit fearful because you're in a new setting, but the more you can learn about that setting, I think that the more that you'll grow.
Thank you so much, Alison. My next question is, in addition to getting the right certifications and enrolling in the right educational programs, would you like to highlight some specific programs or ways that newcomers and immigrants can develop skills for their future career? I'm also going back to what you mentioned about negotiation. I also wonder if there are programs that teach negotiation skills.
So certainly. At Bow Valley College, we've just embarked on something called competency-based education. And competency-based education is where you actually assess at the beginning of your programming. So you'll be assessed to find out where you are as a learner. And if you're competent in a skill, we give you credit for it. So you don't have to sit through every, 4 months of semesters. So we're doing that very specifically right now in our School of Technology and in both cloud computing and data analytics and management. So you can actually test before. And that's important because what we know is that people come to Canada with a great deal of skill that we often don't give credit for. And so this allows people to pre-assess and actually say, yes, I'm competent in that, and move on to the next thing. So that's an important part of what we do at Bow Valley College. We're also working into the micro-credential field. So you can actually get a micro-credential in a very specific area. Again, it will be competency-based so that your learning plan is directed at you. It's all about the learner. So it's very learner-centric. At Bow Valley College, we're also quite involved in upskilling and reskilling. So we're looking at things like certificates of achievement. So around 4 courses that you could take, and And some of the ones that we're looking at are risk management, supply chain. So you could take 4 courses and then you could go do a credentialing exam for the accrediting bodies in those fields. And we're really looking to broaden that so that you aren't at school, 2 years or 4 years or whatever. And again, it's based on your needs. We've just launched a Center for Entertainment Arts at Bow Valley College. It's actually now under my portfolio. And so we're looking at, in film and the entertainment arts. And one of the things that's really important there is students in the last semester of study work with a mentor. And so they will work with a mentor in industry to ensure that the skills that they come up with make them job ready. And so in the province of Alberta and really across Canada, work integrated learning is very, very important for all our programming so that we know that our students have the skills that employers need. So really putting real life work experience into our programs. So we're really excited and we're really turning our education. It's really a pivoting moment in education, and COVID probably helped us along to really pay attention to where our learners are and look at how we can train them the best way that we see fit. So lots of programming, but really trying to individualize it more than ever.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that information, Alison. Next up, we have Azumme Degun, the Director, Career Mentorship Program for the Edmonton Region Immigrant Employment Council, ERIEC. With over 13 years of experience spanning banking, government, and the nonprofit sectors, she has an avid interest in seeing new immigrants settle into Canada, being one yourself, right? And
Absolutely.
Recently has completed an advanced certificate in leadership from the University of Alberta. Welcome to this panel.
Thank you, Ramya. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So my first question to you is, what are the common challenges with soft skills that you see immigrants and newcomers face in their settlement journey, and how can they best deal with them?
You know what, Ramya? I've noticed just through work and interactions with immigrant professionals every day and newcomers every day, that a lot of newcomers come to Canada with commendable education, experience, and expertise. And like Alison mentioned, sometimes they don't get credit for that. But all of that education, experience, and expertise is really important to them. They take it very seriously. Those are hard skills that they take to heart. Now, that is not to say that we don't take hard skills to heart here in Canada. What it is, though, is that soft skills are just as important as hard skills. And that's something that a lot of newcomers do not have front and center or on their to-do list of, I'm trying to find a job, and this is something I want to be equipping myself in terms of competencies. That's something that I find to be lacking in a sense, right? So what happens is immigrant professionals and newcomers generally do a lot of work with preparing to work in Canada. They put a lot of effort with, getting that certificate or getting that training because they believe that this will help them land the job. But I believe that they should be not just preparing for work, they should also be preparing for the workplace. Because the workplace very often, the Canadian workplace very often is different from what they're used to in their home countries. And one of the ways to prepare for work is to realize the importance of soft skills and then seek to increase competency in this regard. Now, there's a variety of soft skills and there's several different ways, but I'm talking about when you're learning and refining your skills in things like communication, like Alison talked about. This could be verbal and non-verbal. You're also wanting to make sure that you're refining your skills in leadership and in taking initiative. And I'm making sure to mention taking initiative because very often newcomers are from societies that are very autocratic. And so when they move to Canada where the workplace is mostly egalitarian, they're not the most comfortable with, leading themselves and taking initiative and putting a hand up just because it's not that they can't do it, it's just that they're not used to it. So that's something that it's important as a soft skill to, keep in mind and be thinking of refining and polishing. Other than that, my thinking is small talk. As weird as that may sound, it's important to polish your skills in terms of small talk, especially when you're coming to a country that you're not very familiar. So you want to make sure that you know what is acceptable to talk about, what is not quite acceptable to talk about. I always say start with the weather. Canadians like to talk about the weather. We're either complaining about the winters that we know will come every year, or we're excited about the summers that we know are very short. And negotiation, just like Alison mentioned, negotiation and conflict resolution, those are skills that you want to be building and making sure that you are deliberately upskilling in that regard. Now, certainly not the least, but the last one I'll probably be mentioning today is cultural intelligence. One of the very beautiful things about Canada is just how multicultural it is. It's such a beauty to behold. Now, when very often that multiculturalism is translated into the workplace. Now, when that happens, it can be chaos if it's not handled properly, because everybody is coming from a different cultural background, and you can be on a team with 10 people and everybody has, there's 10 different cultural backgrounds. And so everybody is receiving, interpreting information and communication differently. And so you want to make sure that as you are upskilling in terms of your hard skills, you are understanding and training yourself and seeking information and knowledge that will help you to not only work, but also thrive in the workplace. It's often said that hard skills may get you the job, but you will need soft skills to keep the job and to advance your career. And so do not underestimate the power of soft skills is what I would round up with.
Thank you so much. And last year, Azumme, you wrote an article for us on cultural intelligence. It was June 2020, I believe. So if you do a search for cultural intelligence on our website, canadianimmigrant.ca, please do so and you can find her article. Or if I find it, I will type it in the chat box. So my next question is, would you like to highlight some specific programs and initiatives that newcomers and immigrants can access to develop their soft skills on their journey to success? Given that you're with the Edmonton Region Immigrant Employment Council, you probably have a lot of insights on this.
Yes, I do have quite a lot of insight, but my insight will be more localized to the Edmonton area. But that being said, there's several, government-funded nonprofit organizations across the country from coast to coast to coast that provide workplace culture training for immigrants and newcomers and immigrant professionals generally. So my suggestion would be that people do their research and find out what is available to them locally. What is available to you locally? What can you take advantage of? And in a sense, the pandemic, we can almost thank the pandemic because everything has gone online. And so people are now able to access resources that would probably have not been available to them locally. And so my suggestion would be join trainings and workshops and whatever it is you can find to help you learn, join it, seek out, you can't be lazy research. So you want to make sure that you're researching and finding out what is available to you. So in Edmonton, there's several organizations. The team at ERIEC does great work with equipping immigrant professionals with soft skills and cultural intelligence trainings. We have partnerships with Northwest College and a few other corporate and community organizations, and we try to make sure that we are essentially spreading our tentacles to make sure that people know what is available and they're able to take advantage of it. Now, over and beyond that, my other suggestion would be volunteering and seeking a mentor. Alison talked about just the power of mentoring, and I'm going to reiterate that today. Mentoring is when you seek a mentor, what you're doing is you're seeking a safe space. You're or more like a safe space or a safe person that you can turn to, that you can ask questions, and you can possibly make mistakes with, and polish your soft skills in the backside so that you are in a better position as you move into workplace interaction. Now, with volunteering, what volunteering will do for you is that it will allow you to learn and to practice your soft skills without the added pressure of being in a job with deliverables that you're responsible for. So that just, it's an extra weight off your shoulder where you're in a volunteering position and you're not, there's no deliverables in the sense that you're responsible for. You get that, so that mix of seeking information and volunteering and having a mentor, you can't go wrong with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Next, I'd like to welcome Catherine Steele, who is known as the Clear Communicator, and she's a speaker, coach, and consultant who trains corporate teams and individuals on the clear speaking skills and pronunciation techniques necessary to be competitive in today's global marketplace. So Catherine, we're thrilled to have you here again. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you. It's always so nice to be invited. I usually am traveling coast to coast speaking for Canadian Immigrant, and it's really nice, as you said, Azumme, that we can beam ourselves in virtually to see everybody. So thank you so much for creating a virtual fair for us.
Great. So you'll be speaking about a special focus on teaching people to be clear communicators.
That's right.
And you've had a lot of experience training people with developing communication skills. So you'll also be talking about the importance of the soft skills. So I believe you have a presentation. Yes, there.
Do you see it coming up?
Yeah, it has come up. Yes, now it is.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to talk about soft skills expectations of professionals in Canada. And both Alison and, as you may mentioned, many of the things I'm going to talk about, I'm going to reiterate that it's essential that you know what the Canadian job situation looks like when you come in, not in terms of your training and experience, but in terms of how you talk about it and how you connect with people. It may be very different, and there are some things that can help you. So I'm going to see if my slides will move forward. Has it moved forward for you?
Yes, it has.
It has. Wonderful. Okay. As Ramya mentioned, I'm known internationally as a pronunciation coach, a clear communicator, and a soft skills and diversity strategist. So what that means is that people invite me to be part of their book, to be part of their panel, but mostly they hire me and they say, Catherine, how do you say this in a way that's clear? I'm coming to understand that people don't understand me. There's miscommunication. I think I've missed a job opportunity. And in some cases, I was let go, and people are let go at the 2-year mark, which to me means that there's something going on soft skill wise that often we don't talk about. So I'm just going to mention that Communication Strategies for Entrepreneurs is part of the book that a friend of mine, Trish Mandewo, based in the Vancouver area, wrote. It's called Growth Strategies for the Hungry Entrepreneur. And I know that often you become an entrepreneur because you have not had success being hired in your field. And you think, darn it, I have all these skills. I'm just going to create my own business. But that creates another pressure on you as well to be an even more competent communicator. This is something. In Canada, correcting another adult is one of our biggest taboos, right? It's almost impossible. And so when you come as a skilled adult to Canada, I know because people tell me that you ask, could you please tell me, let me know if I'm doing this wrong, let me know if you don't understand me. And what I hear is that people don't get that answer. So we're going to look at ways to get that kind of an answer because you need it. It's essential. Unfortunately, because you have not got access to this answer, you may feel that everything is going well, nobody said anything, no news is good news, and I'm here to say that maybe it's not. So how do we learn what's expected of professionals in Canada? If nobody's going to tell you, what do you do? There's an exception to the rule, and both Alison and Azumme have mentioned this. It's mentors. We know that a mentor is an exceptional way to learn what's happening in your field. What I'm going to propose is that as I don't remember who mentioned it, but it is a safe space. I think it was Azumme, a safe space to get some questions answered. You are going to be coming in at a level of a professional as the company as a whole in their team that they need you to fill, and it is not going to be a junior role. So you are going to get the big questions. You are going to be asked about hiring, and you're going to be asked about firing. You're also going to be asked about downsizing, apologizing, explaining a huge error. Um, Mistakes. I know one of the people that I was talking to, her mistake was in the billions of dollars. It wasn't her personal mistake, but that would be the result for the company. So we're not looking at small mistakes now. On behalf of her team, she had to find a workaround and make an apology and overcome in the media as well difficulties. And she was able to do it. She was hired because she is that level of professional. And I know that many of you out there have done that in your first country, first culture. And now we are asking you to come and do that in Canada. So the stakes are very high. With this mentor, you're going to ask them, not just how do I get a job? You're going to ask them, in Canada, when this situation happens, when things go bad, what do you say? How do you say it? Who do you talk to? Who are your resources? I want you to think of all of the scenarios that you're asked in your job interviews where things did not go well. And I want you to ask your mentor how they would have handled that situation, and listen for the languaging, look at the body language. How did they dress? Did they give a present? Did they not give a present? How did they script what they were doing? Did they send in a different proposal? Did they send in an apology that was a written apology? Think about things like that. Those are the questions that you should be asking now, because you are either getting into a high level role or you want to be into a high level role. So how do you get there? So you need a mentor, number one, and there are various ways of getting a mentor. I know that ERIEC and the other, there is TRIEC, and we have the BC version of the Immigrant Employment Council. Have a look at their mentoring opportunities. There are free mentoring opportunities out there, even industry-specific ones. You can ask people that you admire. They don't have to be in your field if they would mentor you. When you have your phone informational interview, 15-minute interviews, those are excellent times to get a little tiny bit of mentoring. You have to be careful what you ask and who you ask, but there is a network out there, especially if you're connected on LinkedIn. And I encourage you to be on LinkedIn with a professional profile photo and put something about being in Canada. I was looking for people today and didn't know if I had the right person because the name was a very common one, and I was looking for the one that was now in Canada. So be sure you mention Canada. So your Canadian employer expects you to be the mentor. You are going to have people subordinate. As I mentioned, you need to think, in how many ways can I show that I am the person that the company wants to be the next supervisor, manager, mentor. When you prove that in your performance reviews, they're going to see, and you're going to be able to say, I have done these things, I know these skills, I have this much experience, and I am the perfect person for that senior role. When you look on Indeed.com, these are the expectations of your role. These are some of the words: senior, lead, supervisor, manager, C-suite. This is you. And you may think that, oh, I've arrived in Canada, I'm the newbie, I'm the new person, I should just, wait and listen and figure things out. When you're in the role, you need to be fulfilling the role. Before you get that role, maybe think about taking a junior position and learning from the mentor who is in the senior role, so that when you decide to take on the senior role, you have had that person mentoring you for a while and you've seen how it's done. You are replacing a baby boomer. Canada realized that they needed people to fill roles that someone who was retiring and who had years of experience, a huge amount of connections, had gone through some terrible things and made it through to the other side successfully. You're replacing that person with a lot of competence, a lot of skill. So how do we decide what to ask a mentor? There's a great book. It's an older book now, but it's still a great book. It's called Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, and it has each country in the world, and it lists typical ways of handling things. And so I would suggest you have a look at that. It's probably available at the library even. Have a look at the section on Canada and then start asking questions. Ask people, do people respect this? Do they like this? Do they prefer this? Do they want this? Should I do this? I'm not doing this. This is weird. And I'm going to say, if it seems strange, weird, uncomfortable, unusual, that's probably the thing that is very Canadian that we really like about our culture. And so do your best to see if you can adapt to that and take that on as a new personality, your new Canadian personality. You're going to see that some of it is not how you shake hands or which fork you use at the dinner table. It's deeper than that. So I suggested earlier that the topics may not go into enough depth. You need to be asking the hard questions to get the answers. Some of the success stories in my client base, and I am coaching people on speaking clearly, the pronunciation, things like L, R, T, H, and avoiding intonation that sounds angry, bored, arrogant, shy, right? Because that doesn't help you as a professional. Your first language, your first culture may have an intonation pattern that is seen very badly in Canada, and you need to know that. One of my clients actually went to at least 4 Toastmasters every week, and then he created his own Toastmasters club, right? So that is something that you can do. And right now, when everything is online, I would say take it on. You could put your hand up like my client did. She's part of a very large set of grocery stores here in the Vancouver area. And she said, I'll do the webinar. And so now she has constantly, she is the host of the webinar for her section of that grocery store. Someone else took on professional speaking opportunities with Amazon. He knew that there was an opportunity for his team, someone on his team, to speak to Amazon in Seattle. He's with Amazon in Vancouver. He offered it to the team. No one on the team wanted to do the speaking engagement. Many of my clients are tech people, engineers, accountants, right? Not big speakers normally. And he's thought, okay, I'm training with Catherine. He put his hand up, and he's the one who spoke to the Amazon Seattle team. What does that do for your career? It's amazing. Take on those opportunities and create them for yourself. You are in a webinar with a whole pile of mentors. I'm a mentor. The other 2 ladies are mentors. Ramia's a mentor. Canadian Immigrant, as mentioned, the magazine, everyone who writes an article to help newcomers in that Canadian Immigrant magazine is a mentor. Reach out to us, connect on LinkedIn, ask us, pose us interesting questions beyond how are you? Ask us the tricky ones, and it's a safe place to get some answers. We talk about funding. There is funding. The Canadian government realized that there was a problem. It wasn't only language, because now there's such a high level of language expectation. It was soft skills, and there is soft skills money available for your employer. You need to know, because you're going to be the one to ask your employer, do you have professional development dollars that I could be using? Or would you like to fund me through the Canadian government soft skills grant? And this is the one I'm going to tell you what the link is at the end so that you can get it. You're going to say, would it help my career if I went to Toastmasters, if I took business writing classes, if I worked on my pronunciation, etc.? You're going to ask that beyond your technical skills. Look for soft skills training. I'm frozen again. Give me one moment. Professionals are expected to build their careers and see professional development as a lifelong learning goal. So you will probably need to pay for your training. We expect that we pay a lot of money for our own professional development. So don't be surprised that you are asked. But when there are opportunities, take advantage of them. As newcomers, you have more opportunities. Past a certain timeline, those opportunities are no longer free for you. So take advantage now. Here comes the Canadian government grant. They are paying for soft skills training. We've noticed that there's a problem and we're trying to address it. So when someone mentions it, take it very seriously. I've mentioned that you apply for the soft skills that you can get through your organization, or the soft skills that the government can provide, or you pay for your own training. Here is the link. This is the link to my website, which lists all of the provinces, because education is a provincial designation. So you need to know which province and which grant through that province you need to apply for. I have all of the provinces that I can find, all of the links that I can find at this link. So take a picture. I'll leave it for one more moment. And this link is going to connect you to me. I have a monthly free communication webinar with guests. What my clients and followers do is listen to my guests, practice the vocabulary that my guest is using, look at the body language, look at the presentation style, and learn from there. And those people, my guests, become other possible mentors. Here's my contact information, and I'm really happy to take questions. I'm also going to put my information into the chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine, for that comprehensive presentation. My next question is actually about digital soft skills, which you've covered in your presentation. So I'm going to ask Azumme and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, would you like to, given the situation with COVID, we're all having to develop digital soft skills. What do you believe are the current challenges and opportunities?
Well, you know, it's interesting just in terms of COVID and how we've switched. I started my job at Bow Valley College August the 4th, and I've been remote since. So one of the challenges I'm finding is, even though I'm meeting with my teams all the time in this virtual world, I still don't have that sense of connection. And I think that what I'm finding is, in terms of soft skills, people are feeling a little bit tired and they're feeling a little bit isolated, some people. And so with the digital soft skills, you know, it's important that we keep, and again, it's back to that communication piece. It's how we support each other and how we communicate with one another. So, you know, there is a feeling of remoteness, and we see that. And that's certainly in soft skills. And it's even in the way people sometimes are communicating now. So it's, you know, how are we saying it? And when we're a little bit tired, we tend to be in the remote world a little bit more quick to do replies or you know, quick messaging. So it's really, I think it's the opportunity is to make sure that you spend time with people. So COVID has actually given us a lot of opportunities to develop, you know, our networks across the country, across the globe for that matter. So it's really allowed us to grow our networks and spend time with people that we probably wouldn't otherwise get to. So there are opportunities, and it really becomes, we know our jobs are going to shift post-COVID. We know we're going to be working more remotely, or we'll have a hybrid of working in the office and out of the office. So, you know, I think in terms of the digital soft skills, it's really the ability to be able to meet like this and talk to each other like this, and, you know, have strong communication and build, you know, you could have a mentor anywhere in the world and meet with them this way. And so I think that there's opportunities. It's, you know, a lot of us, I'm anxious to actually work in my office one day after, you know, 9 months of a start, and spend time with my team. But, you know, there's pros and cons to, you know, the COVID situation, but I really think, you know, in terms of work, and just that ability to be able to communicate and gain those soft skills, just really build on what we do, whether it's remotely or face to face.
Great. Thank you so much, Alison. Thank you for that. Same question for you, Azumme. What do you think, given COVID, what are key digital soft skills that opportunities to develop digital soft skills?
I think that first off, soft skills are soft skills. It doesn't matter how you flip it. Soft skills are soft skills, whether you're interacting in a digital online world or in an in-person situation, soft skills are soft skills. But that being said, I'm not unaware that it can sometimes be tricky with interacting online in this new world that we live in. And so it requires that now we're even more deliberate, right? That extra effort to build connections, like Alison said, where it's hard if you haven't had that prior connection and you're just wanting to build that connection over digital means, that it's even more tricky. A quick example that comes to mind is with recent communication. Now, when you send out an email, that email is subject to interpretation, and there can be interpretations that can vary widely from what you intended it to say. So what this requires is that we're extra cautious, especially with written communication. Now, when you want to send an email, if you need to write that email, but don't send it out immediately. You might want to let it sit and then come back to it before you press send. You will realize that it might read differently when you come back to look at it with a fresh set of eyes. All right, so that's just the extra effort of being deliberate with soft skills in this new world. It's not business as usual. It's business a little more than usual, I like to think. And a key soft skill to be aware of, given this new world that we live in again, is adaptability. What I'm referring to by adaptability is, being open and accepting of change. If we ever had a doubt, I think that this whole pandemic has shown us that change is the only constant thing, and that whether we like it or not, change will be a big part of this new world. And so employers will gravitate more towards people who are accepting of change, people who are who are fine with moving out of their comfort zone, and who see change as an opportunity for both growth and innovation. So adaptability is key as a soft skill in this virtual world that we live in these days. And I think last and certainly not the least, but something I thought I'd just touch on today as another key soft skill is empathy. Extending grace to people. That's just all I'm trying to say. Be gracious to people, be kind to people. These are weird times, not just for you, not just for a few set, for everybody. And just that understanding, and also understanding that people handle stress differently. We should have that at the back of our minds when we're interacting with people, and just be more gracious and more empathetic and more understanding. I think that those are just a few soft skills that we need to up a little bit as we interact in this new world.
Thank you so much. We have a few questions, but I'm afraid we might not have a chance to get to it, but please email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca and we will direct them to the speakers. So thank you very much. So that's all we have the time for today. Thank you. Thank you, Alison, Azumme, and Catherine, for taking the time. We're very happy to have your insights on this session. And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Bank of Montreal, and our associate sponsor, Public Mobile. Our gold sponsors, Canadian Association of Professional Immigration Consultants and PICS BC, and all of our exhibitors. So we have the fair on for another 20 minutes. So feel free to chat with our virtual exhibitors. We're here to help you. And yes, the fair is open till 4 p.m. BC time. So enjoy the fair. Thanks again to our speakers. And it was great to have all of you here. Take care. Bye.